Have you always wondered what it's like to buy an airplane? I recently started a journey of searching for a new airplane. I met with a lot of experts, a lot of people that know a lot about aviation, all this knowledge to share with you. I've been searching for my own new airplane, and I'm getting really close. When you're looking for an airplane, you really want to assess what your needs are. Are you going to be using this for family travel? Are you going to be using it for local travel or $100 hamburger stops? Are you going to be using it for business? You really need to get somewhere quickly and efficiently, and you want to have plenty of space to carry maybe some business partners with you. Everyone's needs are going to be a little different, so you need to sit down and figure out what it is that you really want your airplane to do. You don't want to underbuy and you don't want to overbuy. Underbuying may be something that could be easily done by someone that's a little bit afraid of spending a lot on an airplane. You can buy an inexpensive plane, but it's really not going to do the job that you need. You don't want to buy an airplane for cross-country travel or business travel that is slow, doesn't hold a lot of fuel, then you'll be making a lot of fuel stops. You want it to be very fuel efficient. So an inexpensive plane may not meet those needs. You don't want to overbuy either by buying a really expensive plane that may be way too complex for your comfort zone and you wind up not flying it. A multi-engine may sound really nice to a couple that wants to do a lot of family vacations in it. The cost of a multi-engine airplane is very prohibitive. Everything is double. You've got two engines. That's going to be a huge factor when you're trying to figure out what you can budget for an airplane. Only you can determine what's the right airplane for you. Most of this information can be found by just placing a simple phone call to an insurance broker, to a local airport to inquire about hangar rent, etc., etc. Please follow along on the rest of this series. I sat down and talked to a lot of people with a lot of aviation experience, gained a lot of knowledge as I'm going through this process of looking for an airplane, and hopefully it will be helpful, educational for you as well. In this video, I sat down with Jeff and Kevin from aviatorsmarket.com and learned all kinds of information about what to look for when you're shopping for an airplane. I am here in Lakeland, Florida, and it's beautiful here. I came down here to Gulf Coast Avionics to meet these two guys, Jeff and Kevin. They are founders of Aviators Market. We're going to discuss what it's like to buy an airplane for a first-time airplane owner. What's the process that you recommend for someone that's a first-time buyer and they're like, where do I even begin?
Aviators Market, that's a marketplace that you can go online and look for aircraft, engines, parts, avionics, real estate. So it's all bundled into one central location that a user can go on.
It's everything from, experimental, home-built aircraft on up through corporate aircraft, G650s, you name it, everything in between.
What is the first thing that people need to do before they even start looking for a plane?
What is it you want to use the airplane for? What's that mission that you have for an airplane? That will determine the type of airplane, the size of the airplane. Most likely it'll also give them a better idea of what kind of budget they're going to want to look for, depending upon how new it is or how old it is.
For myself, this has been one of the most challenging things because I want to do something that I can do aerobatics in. I love to do cross-country flying. I want to build tail wheel time. So for me, it seems like it's kind of like when you go look for a house, you may not get everything that you want. You kind of have to decide what's your number one, number two goal and kind of stick with that.
So aerobatics is going to be a very small, very tight aircraft. Champ, decathlon, there's even extras if you want to go high end on something like that.
I love something like that.
We all would, right? It's only you. Ziploc bag is about all you'll be able to carry.
Yeah, I know, that's the problem for me, for sure. There's a wide range of pilots out there. There's a new pilot, there's someone that's been flying and this may not be their first airplane. For the new pilot, what's a reasonable budget maybe that a new pilot could get a sufficient airplane to build time in?
But for your very first aircraft, your budget's going to tell you which direction you want to go as far as that's concerned.
One of the things I wish that I had known when I bought my airplane, and I guess as I've sort of figured this out, was it's not just the cost of the airplane that you have to consider. It's the insurance, it's hangaring it, all these other things that go into it.
You have the price that you pay for the airplane, and then you have the cost.
When I bought mine, I was really intimidated by the amount of paperwork. How do you know that all the documentation and everything is, I think you get kind of like, oh God, I don't know what all I need in this airplane.
I would highly recommend pre-buy expense. You want to have somebody that you know that knows how to look at the logbooks and be able to go through that thoroughly to make a determination, is this airplane is really as good as they say it is.
How do you find someone to do a pre-buy? That if you have no connections and you've never done this, how do you find someone you trust to do that?
Literally, it's nothing more than just making a phone call and saying, I'd like to talk to somebody, or going into the airport and getting some recommendations.
If someone's doing a pre-buy, what can they expect that to cost?
It just depends upon the airplane. So we're talking about a small single engine Piper Cherokee 140 or Cessna 152, you're going to spend a few $100s. You can have some more complex aircraft. It takes a little bit more to go through them. You're looking for red flags. What are the red flags?
When you say you want to pre-buy, it is a certain thing that people do, a certain process, or there are certain things that they're definitely going to check.
Right. Typically what they'll do is they'll start with the log. So you get some airplanes that one reason or another the logbooks are gone. You're buying it as is, and you do a more extensive pre-buy.
I found an airplane that I really like, and it's in Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
Should I be deterred if a plane is like not right there in my city? What's the process of buying a plane that's way on the other side of the country?
Oftentimes you'll find that an airplane is located in another state. Depending upon how good of a price or value is for that particular airplane, on the telephone, can I ask lots of questions about that airplane? Don't hesitate in asking questions. But if it's a good airplane, good value on it, and it's got all the right numbers, then you work out a deal. The expense of you flying out there is part of the deal.
I know there's the option of using a broker. You can go without a broker. Let's say you are going without a broker. How do you know what the value of a plane is? How do you know if it's a fair price?
Buying an airplane is just the same as buying a house. The only difference with of course, the airplane flies and moves where the house doesn't. Things that you want to look at for price-wise on it are the comps, that you can look around and see what these other airplanes are selling for. You can get a really good idea. And if there is one that is a lot higher, there's usually one or two reasons. That person either loves that airplane and doesn't want to
Very emotionally connected.
Yeah, right. And the other one is they may have put a new panel in. That airplane is worth a lot more because of that equipment that's makes it.
And VREF is similar to like the Kelley Blue Book. I found a plane, done comps, I've done VREF, and the price just seems too good to be true.
Use your gut. Doesn't sound right, let it go.
I have one more question.
All right.
What is the biggest fear you see in first-time buyers, and what can you say to alleviate that fear?
The biggest fear is you don't want to make a bad decision. It's an emotional decision. You've got to support it logically. In other words, the purpose of what you're buying the airplane for, what's that going to deliver to you? Whether it's just traveling around, bringing family, going back and forth with family, or if it's for business. There's a lot of logical reasons that will support the emotional portion of it. When you start focusing on that, that's when you'll start to feel really more comfortable and you'll be all right.
You haven't answered much. What's the biggest mistake that first-time buyers make?
Rushing into it, take your time, slow down. If you'd have just taken a few more seconds to look, there might have been a better plane for a better price.
I'm such an impulse buyer that I have to really force myself to like slow down.
That's right.
Just go buy the best. You never have to wish. You never have to wish for anything else.
I'm going to say goodbye to Kevin and Jeff. Look at their website, aviatorsmarket.com, when you are ready to get that search on for your new airplane.